Hello, and welcome to the third and final video in this experimental Eternal Challenge Run video series. Challenge runs are traditionally performed in single-player games, but I've taken advantage of Eternal's robust player versus environment and gameplay experience, and I've ported the format here. This time around, our challenge will be to win a gauntlet match by only playing power cards. Before we begin this challenge run, let's first clarify the rule set that we're going to use. As always, the challenge will be complete when we defeat a single gauntlet opponent on the lowest difficulty. This time around, the only cards that we are allowed to manually play are power cards. Note that I said manually play. In Eternal, playing a card has a broader meaning than in some other card games. Cards that are generated by the effects of other cards are considered played in the same way as cards you manually play from your hand. For example, the card assembly line creates 3 Grenadin, and you are considered to have played 4 cards on that turn, even though you only manually played the assembly line, 1 card. While that's great for Witching Hour, it does cause us some difficulties here. Since the spirit of this challenge is to win by only playing power, any additional cards played as a result of playing that power will be allowed, as I'm going to consider it part of the power's effect. Additionally, I've chosen to allow fate effects in this particular challenge run, as their effects trigger automatically when drawn and are not player controlled, so you're not playing anything out of your hand. However, cards that cast themselves when discarded are not allowed, as they do actually play themselves rather than triggering an effect to play some other card. With the rules out of the way, let's take a look at what we've got to work with. Not a whole lot. These 5 power cards are the only power cards in the game that can impact the board or deal damage to the opponent, and 4 of them require that you have already attacked this turn in order to trigger their onslaught effects. With just power cards alone, we're not even going to be able to get started. We're going to first need a unit in play. Fortunately for us, there are 2 fate effects that generate units. Unfortunately for us, one of those units can't attack. The ever-useful Lumen Shepherd gives us the wisp that we're looking for, but Savior of the Meek provides a unit that can't attack, which is not very good at triggering Onslaught. In theory, sometimes the AI could silence the Watchman and allow you to attack with it, but I'm not actually sure the lowest difficulty AI even has cards that silence, so that's probably not going to be our primary game plan. Lumen Shepherd's Wisps and the power we saw before are basically all the tools we're going to have to work with. So, my general game plan is going to be to hit the AI fast and hard. We can only generate 8 1/1s and a couple of Spiked Helms, and those are going to be pretty quickly outclassed, so we're going to need to bring the AI down low enough that our 12 points of power-based reach can finish them off. With that game plan in mind, I built the deck to do something else because I'm not a very good deck builder. I included Nyctotraxion in hope that it would randomly generate a card that we could use, as well as a handful of fate cards in power that would gain us some health and keep us alive while we raced with our 1/1s. I did not include any crests to help filter through our deck for the 24 cards we have that actually matter, because as I said before, I'm not a very good deck builder. Regardless, we have included all of the board impacting cards that we can actually play, so the deck is done and it's off to the Gauntlet to start grinding games. As with my previous videos, many of my runs died at the mulligan to not drawing a key piece in my opening hand, in this case the Lumen Shepherd. Unlike my previous videos, I'm going to show you the footage from a failed run in order to highlight the key piece of knowledge I gained over the course of this challenge. Even at the lowest difficulty, not all Gauntlet decks are created equal. In this failed run, the AI played a 2/5 Endurance on the 4th turn that I could never muscle through or block. Now compare that 2/5 to what you'll see the AI play in this next successful run. I've dramatically sped up this gameplay footage as its real-time length was over 13 minutes. Remember how I said that my game plan was to hit the AI hard and fast? Well, that didn't happen. I was fortunate enough to hit 2 Lumen Shepherds early, and an otherwise useless Watchman drew a temper away from the Wisps. The AI played no units, and I believe that I had a legitimate shot at closing out the game as I beat them down. You'll note that I'm playing this match against the Gauntlet deck Spells of the Praxis, while my previous loss was to Rebel Forces. The Spells of the Praxis deck contains 50 power and mostly cards that search for more power, which makes it an excellent punching bag for this kind of challenge. Unfortunately for me, it only mostly contains cards that search for power. It also contains life gain spells, which, while usually useless, set me back dramatically. Another setback came when the AI finally drew a unit, which had been boosted by temper to a menacing 1-3, which was more than enough to stop my offense cold. I didn't have much of a plan left. If my deck can't attack, then it can't win. I held out hope that the AI would eventually start attacking, and then maybe I could race them. And the AI did start attacking, but my lack of knowledge of the AI patterns really hurt me when I made a third unit, and then the AI decided to stop attacking. A Dune Phantom showed up, and I abandoned all serious hope of a successful frontal assault. With offense out of the question, I would ordinarily concede here, but at some point during this match it occurred to me that there are actually two ways to win the game in Eternal. If you run out of cards in your deck, you lose the game. The AI had been drawing a lot more cards than me thanks to all its power searching, and it didn't look poised to actually beat me, so maybe I could stick around long enough to deck them. However, I wanted to at least attempt to end the game under my own power, so I kept attacking instead of sitting back on defense. That didn't work at all, but eventually the plan of waiting for the AI to deck itself did. They drew their last card, exploded, and I won a Gauntlet game by only playing power. Obviously not quite how I originally intended to win, but as they say, we take those. This brings us to the end of the 3 experimental challenge runs that I pre-recorded. If you'd like to see more challenge runs in this style, or have an idea for a challenge run yourself, please let me know and I'll create some more videos. Otherwise, this will probably be the end of the series until I have a spark of inspiration. Regardless, thanks for watching.